Did you know that May is Mental Health Awareness Month? One big mistake is self-diagnosis. Don't do that to yourself. You can actually just make a phone call to one of these free 24 hours available helplines, okay? I know of Lifeline, number one. I also know of SADC, the South African Anxiety and Depression Group, right? Depression and Anxiety Group, SADC. So now you make a phone call there and find out, I think I may have a problem. And if you want to actually get like some serious help and you have a little bit of money to spend, try psychology today. Stop asking Dr. Google if you are depressed or anxious or if you have bipolar or schizophrenia. I know depression and anxiety are the two mostly common mental illnesses we hear about, but that's because those are the common ones. In the psychology field, we have a book called the DSM-5, where all psychological issues are mentioned. And they vary from severe to mild. They vary in terms of whether they are interconnected, where one mental illness may spark another one. So there's a lot to learn. So instead of one just calling somebody who's struggling with mental illness seraswi, how about you go teach yourself a little bit about it? In the Black culture, we tend to actually take mental illness as a spiritual thing. Like motho mathatanyana aka motlhogong, we look at it as a spiritual thing. And then the next thing, that's good and all, depending on how strong your spiritual beliefs are. You must remember, you are the person experiencing mental illness challenges. If you want to go healing yourself via the spiritual route, check your spiritual beliefs as well. They have to be just as strong. I have a whole chapter in my book where I speak about mental health, by the way. From the moment I was young, dealing with mental health issues and I did not know what they were, to the point where I actually obtained a psychology degree, where now I understand every mental issue stated within the DSM-5, book, and to the point where I took therapy. And I found out how I can also seek out help as a psychology graduate and also find a way to cope and live my life without having to depend on anti-anxiety and anti-depression meds. So if you'd like to learn more about my journey in the mental health field or mental health challenges, go ahead and get my book, A Decade in My Lifetime, at gmail.com. And lastly, I'm speaking from a point of being a psychology student and also undergoing therapy myself and also taking mental health medication. At one point in my life, I took anti-anxiety meds because I could not go to bed. I used to think that if I sleep, I might never wake up again. This was the PTSD that I experienced after dying for 3 minutes when I went to give birth to my daughter. Because I was living alone with both my children and raising this infant of mine, I used to have fear that I will go to bed and never wake up. So that was my anxiety. I used to have wake up and I'd be under some serious anxiety attack. I couldn't breathe and I had to stay with somebody on the phone because I thought I was about to die. And so I had to take anti-anxiety meds. Then I took anti-depression medication because I was just not happy. I couldn't smile. I was sad every day, throughout the day, crying all the time. And you must remember, at the time, I have an 8-year-old who's going to school and I have an infant who I'm with inside the house all day. And obviously, I cannot talk to an infant about how I feel. And the 8-year-old doesn't want to come home to a sad and depressed mother. So I started taking antidepressants as well. However, I specifically made sure that I did not want to be depending on those for the rest of my life. I could not use a pill to smile. I did not want to use a pill to be able to fall asleep, right? So I took them for about a month or two. And then after that, I asked my psychiatrist to allow me to get off them and learn some self-regulating and some coping mechanisms, healthy coping mechanisms. And that's how I weaned myself off of the medication. But I would be doing an injustice if I don't let you know that most of my mental health challenges were healed miraculously. And that is because, as a believer myself, I believe in the miracle healing power of God. Jehovah Rapha promises that He will heal us.